And howdy, howdy.
Just the boys tonight.
We are. Lindy is like, I'm going out with the family, doing fun stuff. The heck with you guys. She's out living a jet set lifestyle now that she's all skinny and feeling awesome.
Feeling better. Yeah. It's awesome. Better.
Nah, she had to go help her daughter and stuff, but so she had to go take care of some stuff. But she says hi to y'all, and I'm sure we'll see her in the chat a little bit. So, but good Sunday afternoon to everybody. How's everybody doing out there? Howdy. I was gonna say, what did you guys all do? But I'm just talking to Michael, and I know what he did because he helped with the website to finally get the Montana event all set up. So, howdy from Oklahoma. I used to live in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma for a while. Howdy, beautiful people.
Did you break the arrow?
I broke the arrow. I am the reason. It was just arrow. I landed with a thud. North there. Right on. But yeah, so let's see here. We finally have got Michael did a good job with the intro. Yeah, we finally have got the SBG events website up, and there it is. The one, the only, well, not the only, it's going to be more to come in the future. We're going to do this probably every year now, but there is our first SBG meetup, and it is here, right here, in my stomping grounds, actually, here in Montana. So we finally got that website up, thanks to Michael and Lindy. Lindy did a fantastic job. Michael did a kick-ass job too on putting that together. And we are now have dates and the idea of what the events are and the people that are coming. Most of them, we have more people that are still yet to sign up for as far as presenters and speakers. But yeah, so go check that out if you guys are interested. The tickets are going way faster than I thought they'd go. So definitely go check that out and get your tickets if that is something you'd like to do. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, they did an awesome job on it. It's in Bozeman, Montana. It's July 4th and July 5th. There's 3 events. There's a just basically a 6 to 7 hour barbecue social event with all the presenters and all of you carnivore folks that are coming. We're capping that at 300 people, and we are going to do a massive barbecue, and weather depending, should have a awesome fireworks show. And but yeah, it's all about hanging out and eating carnivore food and being able to meet and chat with everybody for 6-7 hours, just having a social and trying some Montana carnivore food. So we're going to have local Montana beef. We're going to have bison, and we're going to have some elk and some Rocky Mountain oysters for
oysters
that are daring enough, and different cuts of each. So definitely check that out. And then on Saturday, the 5th, we are going to have the doctors and the presenters are going to do a live presentation Q&A and answer questions. And then after that, there's a third event, and that's going to be 6 hours. And then after that, there's a third event that is a 4-hour smaller VIP dinner for those of that want to spend more close, intimate time. We're capping the VIP dinner at 50 guests so that everybody has a really good one-on-one with their doctors and presenters that they want to talk to and have questions for and want to meet. So, yeah, looking forward to meeting everybody there and seeing you guys out there.
Sounds like a good time.
For sure. It's going to be awesome. Definitely feel free to put your questions in the chat as we go through this. And then, Michael, what are you up to?
Fasting.
Are you? How's it going?
A little low on energy, but it's all right. Feeling better.
Cool. If you would have told me earlier, I would have sent you pictures of my dinner.
You sent me pictures yesterday of it.
What'd you think?
It looked great, but I don't want to see it when I'm fasting.
No, I was just being sarcastic because I was cutting that steak up and I was thinking, people tell me that carnivore is too restrictive to be sustainable as I'm cutting up this massive, beautiful ribeye. Oh, like, yeah, poor me. I could be eating a rice cake right now if I wasn't so restricted.
And then Dr. Phil post a message just like 15 minutes after that. I'm like, what are you guys doing to me?
We knew you were fast. We could hear your tears running down your cheek.
I'm like, you guys are killing me.
Sure.
I'm trying to find a picture of that steak of yours. Let me see it.
Yeah, it was in the
I
team
got
chat.
it.
Yeah.
I got it. I just gotta
Yeah,
check
that thing
down
was
all the stuff I'm sharing.
a beaut. And I ate every bit of it. And then I'm not ashamed to say I ate its brother then about 6 hours later. Oh man.
I saved it there. Where did I save it?
No worries.
Hang on.
All right. Yeah, let us know. Hey there, the dynamic duo, Todd and Michael. Well, something for sure. Michael likes to torture me. Good evening, all. I'm sleeping better past 30-day mark, waiting for inflammation to decrease, and weight loss, 8 pounds. Weight loss is an awesome bonus for sure. Let's see. All right. Yeah, if you guys want to get your questions in, we'll get going. Thanks to everybody for hopping in and spending your Sunday with us. Hey, Thomas, there he is. Yeah, that was the puppy. I was sitting here thinking, people tell me that this diet's too restrictive, and then look at that puppy. Did you get the one where I sliced it?
No, I didn't save it.
No.
I had a hard time finding this.
No worries.
I'll get it.
Yeah, no worries. That one's delicious. But yeah, I was thinking how terrible it is for us carnivores. Yeah. All right. Well, if you guys want to put some questions in and let us know in the chat too, if you guys are going to become visiting us in Montana, we'd love to meet you guys. Or if that's something that you're thinking about doing, that'd be awesome. Love to see you guys. We got a question from Patty. Carb addiction is real. One cheat sent me down the wrong path. Got back on track today. Any suggestions on how to succeed? So, lots of suggestions on how to succeed, but the number one suggestion I have for succeeding is finding a good community. That's why I always tout the Steak and Butter Gang, because that's the community that I'm in. That's the one that really has got me to this 27-month mark. It just is so helpful. And it's so helpful to have the Zoom calls and people to talk to and to kind of get your mind right, and then to give you all the helpful tips and tricks, and to be in such a large carnivore community where people are going through the exact same struggles that you are and being very, very successful in it. So you can, surround yourself with the successful carnivore people that are making it work for them that you want to model after. But the second trick I would say is you got to eat your way through all those cravings. So for a while, those carb cravings are just going to happen. And the only time to this day, after 27 months, that I'm still vulnerable to carb cravings is if I am if I'm hungry, if I'm malnourished, if I'm not eating food and it goes on long enough, I start having carb cravings. So the absolute trick to getting through the carb cravings is eat through the cravings. Make sure you have carnivore food, make sure that's the path of least resistance. And then when those things creep up, just go eat before they have a time to, have a time to make you miserable. So,
and before you make a mistake.
Yep, for sure. Because it'll make you spiral for sure.
Just look at that.
Yeah. See, tell me after eating that bad boy, that thing weighed almost 3 pounds. That thing was a monster. That was almost a 3-pounder, and that's why I posted in the chat to these guys. The SBG gang is like, tell me how restrictive carnivore is and how unsustainable. If I wasn't being so restrictive, I could be having a rice cake and a Pop-Tart right now and watching my macros.
Bowl of cereal or something. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm just having this terrible 3-pound ribeye. So brutal. So brutal. We just did that one. So yes, I hope that helps, Patty. And then if you do end up joining the SBG gang, I'd love to talk to you and hear about your story and how you found carnivore and where you're trying to get with it. Love to meet you in there. Do you have to fast to continue to lose weight? Lost 35 pounds first, stalled for 6 months. No, Beth, like there's so many nuances. I'd have to know a lot more about your story and about what you're doing, but you might be doing nothing wrong. If you are doing something wrong, especially with that kind of thinking, I'm going to assume that you're probably under eating. The vast majority of the reason that people stall the longest is actually under eating. It's not fasting or overeating. But that's the first thing you need to do is make sure what kind of carnivore diet you're on and that you've eliminated all the things that are causing you to have issues, like dairy, if you're using a bunch of sauces or seasonings, if there's hidden ingredients and a bunch of stuff, if you're having a bunch of processed meat that you're not paying close attention to that's sabotaging you, all of those things. That also depends on how you're doing with cravings, if you're still having carb cravings or any of that stuff, how your energy's doing. But then as long as those things are all on point and you're doing this consistently, then the next question is, you say that you have lost 35 pounds, but you stalled for 6 months. What does that stall mean? Has your weight just stalled, but you're losing inches? Are you having any composition changes? Carnivore is a very healing diet, and it puts on a lot of muscle and lean tissue. So sometimes, you're gaining, and lean tissue is much more dense, right? And it weighs more. So sometimes you can be losing inches and not seeing it on the scale. So the scale's the last representation of health and success I would ever use. So that's another thing. And then if all those things are being an issue too, how are you feeling? Are you getting good sleep? All those things. And then how much are you eating? That's the real thing that you gotta look at is
Sure,
are
you're
you
not
eating?
under eating.
Yeah, because under eating will stall you out worse than anything because it absolutely destroys your metabolism. So, and this is why, again, I know I sound like a broken record, but this is why I tell everybody to come hang out with us in the Steak and Butter Gang, because there's so many nuances to it and there's more questions than we can ask here just in the chat to kind of figure out what's going on with you, because it's so individual and there's so many nuances to it. You are an N equals 1, and we got to figure out for yourself what is going on. But there's so many people that have to tailor it to them, but a lot of the time it's under eating or people aren't paying attention to the composition changes. So but yeah, so hope to see you in the Steak and Butter Gang. I broke out a little whiteheads and hives. Any suggestions? Again, there's so many things. You could be oxalate dumping, which is most likely, unless you're eating something that you're having a reaction to. That's the other thing. So if you could be, I'm not too sure. I don't think. Well, you said hives. I don't know about the whiteheads, but you said hives, and hives could also be histamine response. So you might be oxalate dumping. You might be having just a weird allergic reaction of inflammation or something to something that you're eating, or you could have like be having a full-blown histamine response to something, I suppose. So do you know about histamine responses? Are you eating low histamine food? Are you having any crystals and slimy gook in your eyes? That's kind of indicative to oxalate dumping. But yeah, the rosacea type hives and stuff, that comes for a lot, I think, with the histamine response. So it'd be interesting. Again, we'd have to know more on that. So put in the chat if you can, if you have any information on that, or if you've narrowed it down to any specific foods, or if it just kind of came out of nowhere, like you're eating the same thing that you've been eating for forever, but all of a sudden now it's a problem. That'd be kind of interesting to know. Don Vickers, I have blood work for my annual physical. Worried doctor will want me to get on cholesterol medications due to triglycerides being high. What is your thoughts on this? And have no intention of going on. So my thoughts on this are I wish you were in the meeting today in the Steak and Butter Gang, because Dr. Phil just went over all this cholesterol stuff. Dr. Phil is a really good resource. He's only in the Steak and Butter Gang, but he did do 2 videos with Bella on her channel, on the Steak and Butter Gal channel. And so I would go watch his latest videos on cholesterol and triglycerides, and when it's time to take when you need to take a statin and when you don't, basically. And so go check that out. And he's a really good resource for that as well. And as far as your doctor goes, I mean, you work for him, or yeah, he works
Right.
for you. You don't work for him. So, just take his advice with a grain of salt. And if I don't know, I would, what I recommend people in the SBG gang do is wait until Dr. Phil is in one of the open chats and come talk to him. I just watched him read two people's blood reports today and go over it extensively for almost 2 hours. So he occasionally does that, and it's super helpful. And he's Dr. Phil had his own practice, I think, for like 40 years and has a master's in physiology, and he's
Very smart.
very smart guy. So I would definitely recommend doing that, once you get your blood report before you get too worried about it. Just got an air fryer. How do I get fat on ribeyes very well done? Not the steak. Can't eat the fat. But yeah, I got you. So first of all, you're never going to get all the fat really crispy all the way through, depending on how thick you cut it. That's always going to be a problem. But what you can do is cut the fat on the edge of the steak off and cut it into little fingers and fry it if you want to do that first. What I've actually been doing, if I'm not going to cook it, sometimes I feel like eating the fat, sometimes I don't. But what I've been doing when I'm not going to cook it is, or if I don't feel like cooking it, is I take that fat corner. So I get the primal rib roasts, right? And they come in like anywhere from 18 to 22 pound rib roast. It's a 7-bone roast or whatever, but it's boneless, but it's like the equivalent of seven ribs. And I get that whole rib roast. And on the corner, they have a big giant chunk of fat, and I all the way down that rib roast. So it's like, 3 pounds of fat or whatever. But I cut them into steaks, and then there'll be this big giant kind of triangle of fat. And I cut that off the steak before I cook it. And then I slice that really thin with a knife, or you could even use like a mandolin slicer. And I cut it and make it like cheese, and it's raw. And I cut it really thin, and then I leave the fat raw, and I cook the steak. And then when the steak comes out really hot, I take a slice of steak and I take a slice of the raw fat like it's cheese and put it on top of the cooked steak. And I'll take a little bit of Tabasco sauce, put it on top of that, and eat that thing. And man, do I love that texture. Like, I know everybody's brains are breaking right now. They're like, did you just say eating raw, cold, white, uncooked fat? I sure did. But when it's hitting your mouth, if you don't think about what it is and you just think about the texture and the temperature, like I love cold. Like, think about how cold, sharp cheddar cheese tasted and the texture it would give you, and the cold and hot contrast it would give you when you would have that with meat before, and it hits that feeling for me when I'm having it, especially if you have a little bit of Tabasco on top of it, and it's awesome. It makes it.
Maybe that's something you can do at the meetup.
I should make a little hors d'oeuvres. Yeah.
Have people try that.
Yeah.
Here, we got a special person watching right now.
Hey, there she is. I knew she'd be coming in. Well, do you tell Michael to behave? He's already called me many mean names, Lindy. When you're not here, he's not on his best behavior at all. Hope everything's going good for you. But yeah, so try raw fat, or cut the fat off and cut it into like French fries and put it in your air fryer, and then cook the fat on its own. Like, you can cook the fat and the steak together, but then you pull the steak out when it's done, and you just leave the fat French fries going until they're the crispy you like. Oh, but the number one tip on air fryers to get anything extra crispy is
Cook from frozen.
No, never, not in 1,000 years. I will not do that to people. There's pills out there for stuff like that. No. Preheat the air fryer. Preheat the heck out of the air fryer. That's why I love that indoor 6-in-1 XL Ninja foodie thing.
Ninja's nice.
Yeah, because when you preheat that and you preheat the crap out of it, that giant steel plate inside gets really hot, and it holds the heat, and then you turn it back on, and then everything gets super crispy. It really holds the convection heat in there. Question: I just saw my first negative comment on a video that Carrie made about me. Does that mean I have made the big league? I think so. It
is.
Your first troll is rite of passage in the YouTube world. I would post it. I would frame it. I would enjoy it.
Put it on your wall.
Put it on your wall, and yeah, there's going to be many more to come, and there's no end to trolls. Just don't fight bots. You feel silly when you start arguing with a bot and you realize you just waste your time fighting with an algorithm. So, all right. Want to put up that slide, Michael?
Yep.
Let's do it. Also, since Lindy's here, she can't tell us what to do anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to put her GoFundMe out there. So for all you that don't know, Lindy has lost over 500 pounds and she just got skin surgery. She had to put a big deposit on, and now she's finishing up paying for it. And so before she went, we started a GoFundMe. We are literally, as you see, 90% of the way there. So we just ask again. We appreciate you guys. Like, we totally understand. We don't expect anybody to put any money in there that they don't have, that's, completely on their heart to give. But we would ask if you just put this out there in your social medias and spread it around. Lindy's awesome story, and because we're so close to being to the goal, where this is Australian, so it's about, I don't know, I think we're about $2,700 US from covering that bill. And so, yeah, we appreciate your help. We appreciate you guys, man. What you guys have done for people that don't know, we had to do a GoFundMe because in Lindy's medical system in Australia decided that even after losing 500 plus pounds and having this massive amount of loose skin on her body, they said that it was elective. And then, and so it wasn't medically necessary. However, ironically, and thank God that this all happened in the time that it did, because when the doctor was in there doing her surgery, they found a hiatal hernia, or I think it was hiatal, they called it. I don't know. No, it wasn't a hiatal hernia. It was
down by the belly button.
Yeah, down by the belly button, and her colon had popped through this hernia. And he said she only had about 3 days left before she was going to probably lose her colon and possibly have, it was life-threatening. So for a surgery that they said was not life-threatening, or necessary for health or whatever. Yeah, it turned out to be more life-threatening than we could ever imagine, and that surgery saved her life. So we have all of you guys to thank for that. For every penny that you put in there really did truly save Lindy's life. It's incredible. So we thank you guys so much.
Yeah, she was getting ready to cancel.
Yeah, she's going to have to cancel. If we hadn't done the GoFundMe, and if it hadn't come through, she was going to have to cancel. And like Lindy said, knowing her, she would have just kind of stubborn through it, and she probably wouldn't have got to the hospital in time, once that erupted. Yeah.
Just like us, yeah.
Yep. So, no, you guys genuinely saved her life, and we are absolutely indebted to you guys so much. Thank you so much. This community is amazing. Let's see, Janet. I'm just wondering why I'm looking at all those amino acid supplements, that they're almost all vegan. Yeah, right. Most all vegan. Doesn't make sense to me. And vegetables have amino acids, but not utilize meat. Yeah, I know. Well, I know. I don't know why they are either. Some of them are and some of them aren't. I mean, the main reason that they are vegan amino acids is because it's a way cheaper source of protein. It's way cheaper source of amino acid. But you can order online both amino acids and protein powder that's made from beef. I've ordered it, but it's expensive. It's twice as much as the whey, soy protein bull crap, But yeah, but the best sources of protein powders you can get online are egg protein powders and beef protein powders. And then some of the more expensive amino acids are also meat-based protein powder or amino acids as well. So very interesting. But you don't have to buy them. The vegan ones, the ones that I'm using here, I think these are vegan too. Yeah, vegan, paleo, keto friendly, No binders, no GMOs, no fillers, no starters, no coating, no dyes. U.S. manufactured in a CGMP facility. So I don't know. These ones worked for me. The optimal aminos. They did a fine job for me.
That's what I was taking when I was taking them.
Yep. All right. For me, if I cheat, I'm going to have a low carb treat. That way the damage is fenced. Yeah, absolutely. That was my original plan when I went carnivore. My original plan was to, because I was doing keto and then I kept falling off the wagon and cheating to standard American diet that would spiral into a Mountain Dew and pizza frenzy every time, or a Red Bull pizza frenzy, or a Chipotle and Red Bull frenzy, or whatever. It was just going out of control. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do carnivore. That way I can create this relative cheat where I can cheat down to keto. But then when I went to carnivore, the beauty of it was I lost all my cravings for, and, lost the addiction to all the food that I thought I needed to cheat to. And I just have never had to cheat in 27 months. So yeah, but I hear you. I know that plan for sure. I haven't lost weight for quite a while now. My hunger increased pretty much at the start of winter. Yep, for sure. Sometimes I can reduce the amount, but other times I can't. Yeah, and just as long as you are eating real straight carnivore food and you're not getting out of line or eating a bunch of dairy, right? Then listen to your body. And if you listen, like if you just give your body the grace to listen to it, not stress about it, even if you're gaining a little bit of weight. I went through the same thing. I lost like over 100 pounds just in like 5 months in the summer. And then I put on like 40 pounds of it back on over the winter, eating the same stuff. Most of it was fluid from oxalate dumping and inflammation, but put it back on. And I just didn't care. And I just kept eating. And then as soon as it got warm here and got through the winter, I dropped like 30 of that in like 2 weeks, just came off, just a bunch of fluid. And I know that I'm going to lean up more this summer when the weather's warm. And then going into next winter, I'll stall again a little bit. But I keep having these little cuts that keep coming off. And every year I'm just leaner and have more muscle and see more composition change. It just takes time, it does. But you got to make sure you're eating enough. It's great that your appetite's opening up. You should really lean into that. You'll make this take a lot longer and risk completely falling victim to carb addiction if you don't answer that hunger call and eat more carnivore foods. Today it's dairy that I'm craving, so I filled up a red meat. 100%. That's all you got to do. And get, when you're craving dairy, a lot of times it's fat too, but get all that red meat in, get that fat in, and just fill up. All right. Question: have you heard of oxalate dumping? Oh boy, can be dangerous. Yeah, it can be. I'm on a month 3 of skin erupting all over. Don't want to show it. Don't want to slow it down with TA if I can stand it, but want to put myself in danger. Yeah, I mean, look, from what I hear, it doesn't help. If it's getting painful and brutal, it doesn't help to not slow it down with tea. So I think I did that, and I kept. It's funny because we're all in that same mindset of like, I don't want to slow up my my progress or whatever. But man, things didn't get better until I had the green tea, and I went through that for over 3 months. And I'm wishing that I would have stopped it sooner, because right now I'm dealing with a pinched sciatic nerve in my back that came from the oxalates getting to my hip, and it swelled up and it pushed things all funny, and it pinched the sciatic nerve that I'm now seeing a chiropractor for. And I haven't slept in a couple months because of this stupid thing. So I would take the tea. I would take the tea, and I would just slow it down. Just green tea, unsweetened. You don't need a bunch. Just 8 ounces or 4 ounces even should do the trick a day, and it was much better for me. And at least you'll know for sure that it's oxalates. So, hello, Wendy. Good to see you. All right. Let's see. I think that's why I don't complain. I have a lot less, or I have not lost anything in 6 to 8 months. Plus, I feel I'm still healing. Yeah, absolutely. You got to heal. You got to give yourself time, but you got to be honest with yourself too. But you got to you know, like if there's things, if there's rooms for improvement, then improve it as far as the quality of carnivore foods you're eating, as far as if you are letting too much dairy in, or if you're letting too many maybe sauces in that you're not paying attention to, or you're using a lot of refined meats or something, or a lot of pork rinds or something like that that might have something in them, that you should be paying attention to. But as long as those things are on point and you're eating really,
Right.
you know, as clean, you know, straightforward carnivore, just getting lots of meat and, you know, maybe eggs in, sticking to mostly ruminant animals and those things, or, you know, even bacon and pork and that, all that stuff's fine. You gotta be a little bit careful on chicken, because you gotta, if you're gonna eat lean meats, you gotta replace the fat. But as long as you're doing those things, whatever, you know, whatever keeps you doing those things is good. And you need to make sure that you're eating enough and not get into that calorie restrictive mindset, because it's going to slow your metabolism down, and it's going to slow you down, and you're going to undereat.
Hits you hard, yep.
Yeah, you're going to have brain fog again. Anxiety can come back, depression can come back. It, you know, it's not good, right? It weakens you. So just nourish your body, eat, and then let it do the rest. Get good sleep, get some sun, relax, don't beat yourself up, and then the
Stay off the scale too. Don't let
Yeah,
the scale get in your head.
yeah, throw that thing in the dumpster with your carbs when you throw them out. My daughter's had some issues with nausea, being dizzy, passed out. Nausea. Our nurse at pediatrician wigged out over her total cholesterol. One nurse told me she needs to go on a low fat. Yeah, well, I don't know. She sounds like a nut. My daughter had some issues with nausea and being dizzy. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like low blood sugar to me, but I'm no doctor. You definitely want to see a doctor, but you want one that's not going to wig out about, you know, if they still think that cholesterol is this big giant deal, unless it's something, you know, crazy high or something, then, you know, if they still think cholesterol is a big monster, I think you need a new pediatrician, you know, one that's more up to speed. But that might be worth talking to, joining SBG to get Phil's ear one day on. So, do you explain oxalate dumping? Well, I'll explain it to the best of my ability. I am no expert. To be honest with you, I was just white knuckling going through oxalate dumping. I've done it 3 times now, and this last time was particularly bad. And Alyssa in SBG had read up about it, and she knows a lot more than I do, and she told me to do the green tea thing, and it worked. And I really hadn't gone much further past that to looking into it, because it really doesn't. I mean, basically what oxalate dumping is that plant foods have oxalates in them, which, near as I can tell, are the toxins from the plant trying to protect itself from being eaten. You know, just like when, you know, plants, nightshades and different things, like plants with a lot of seeds, or the seeds of the plant and the roots of the plant, they try to protect themselves from being eaten, and they have little poisons in them, and they call them oxalates, I guess. And when you eat that stuff, it builds up in your body, and your body has to deal with it. And when you stop eating any oxalates, your body can kind of go crazy and start releasing oxalates. And if it releases too many of them, you can actually get kind of sick from them. So what happened to me the first time I oxalate dumped, which was pretty common with everybody, is they start coming out of your tear ducts in your eyes, coming out of the corner of your eyes get real goopy.
Or you get real itchy.
Yeah, and then skin. I started getting real itchy. I was pulling out. I had, at the corner of my eyes here, I was pulling out these white oxalate crystals that were coming out. They're like little white heads, but only kind of more like amber crystals that come out that are oxalate crystals. Those were coming out. I even had some coming out of my pores and my skin. And then that quickly turned to oxalate dumping in the back of my legs, which I think the reason why I did is, for whatever reason, I've been getting really lean on my thighs. And so where I notice, wherever my body is burning up the most fat at, that's where I generally oxalate dump through the skin. And it's because I think that your body's going into those fat cells, those old fat cells where the oxalates were stored, and it starts detoxing and pushing the toxins out of your skin. So I had a couple that were just like, I don't know, a week to 10 days long oxalate dumps that weren't really bad. But then this last one sucked. It started with kidney stones, and I passed 3 of them. And then it went to a rash on my stomach, which Coach Raymond talks about in SBG, that's where he would get it. And I felt like I was trying to, I don't know, I just felt like I was trying to to itch my stomach so hard. I felt like I was trying to itch my spine or my liver or something through my navel. And my belly button, I started bleeding, like truly bleeding, like a fairly alarming amount of blood from my belly button. Like waking up and there's blood, blood stained shirt, like pretty. I was like, did I just get stabbed in the night? Like it was pretty gross. And then that went from that to my left knee swelling up so bad that I was convinced that I tore something working out. And I was about to go get x-rays on it. But then overnight it moved and my knee felt fine. It went to my hip, my left hip. And that left hip is where everything really went crazy, because then it started pinching my sciatic nerve. Now the oxalate dumping is gone, but that stupid nerve I think the tissue got inflamed, or I started walking funny when it was happening or something. And now I'm still dealing with that stupid pinched nerve. Everything else is gone, but that nerve is still locked up.
It takes a long time for it to go away sometimes.
Yeah. And so, but long story short, if you have just a little bit of oxalates, which apparently the best way to have a little bit of oxalates is in green tea, because apparently if you do the green tea, it's like a pretty relaxed amount of oxalates that has the least amount of inflammation. So it's a little bit of oxalates with the least amount of inflammation, and that slows down the oxalate dumping so that it does it a little bit more sustainable, so that it's not so rough on you. You know what I mean? And so that's all I know. But the book that you want to read is, I think it's Sally K. Norton's Toxic Superfoods is the book on oxalate dumping. That's kind of the Bible on that. So go check it out. My biggest issue is that I've been doing OMAD for too long. Yep, that happens. Working on adding more meals most days, just a little more difficult on work days. Absolutely. You have to get past the OMADs. OMADs are the biggest like trap, the biggest like quicksand in the carnivore world, especially for people that have been used to under eating. Because when you start getting some of your satiety hormones back, like leptin sensitivity, and you're eating things that are so satiating, like meat and fat, it is really easy to undereat. And you should actually be kind of overeating at first, because you are, if you come from the standard American diet, you're coming from a diet that was filled with like nutriently void, empty carbohydrate calories, right? So you're missing all these nutrients, and you have this, basically this big hole, this nutrient deficit that you've dug yourself into, that your body needs you to fill that hole. And then it's not over yet, because once you've filled it, you need to give your body the right energy, the right hormones, and the rest and that's where we call it grace, the rest and the grace to use those nutrients to heal. And so you got to slow down, you got to sleep a little bit more, you got to be kind of nice to yourself, and you got to let it heal up. And not be stressing out that your body's over here going, we're putting out a 4-alarm fire over here, and you're worried about losing weight. It ain't worried about losing weight. It's worried about fixing your hormones and your organs and your tissue, and getting back on, online. And it's not going to help if you're worrying about, if you're under eating because what the scale says, and if you're worried about what the scale says, that you're not sleeping and you're pumping up your cortisol, which is pumping up your insulin, just like the dawn phenomenon and cortisol response. You don't want to do any of that. You just want to relax. You want to all that you really want to pay attention to is that you're not straying from the diet. You're eating the right, the best nutrient dense carnivore foods you can get a hold of that are working for you. You got to pay attention a little bit in case you're, some people, autoimmune issues and stuff, have certain meats they can't eat. But as long as you're doing that, then you just got to give yourself some grace, relax, eat and let your body heal and let it do it on its own time. And then the weight will take care of itself eventually. Can people have meat addiction just like carb addiction? I don't think so. I will say this over and over and over again. I could not, we have these conversations, right? Are you a moderator or are you an abstainer? And I used to say, no, I'm definitely an abstainer. But now I don't even know what I am. I don't think that's true because I don't have to moderate meat. Some days I want a bunch of it, some days I don't. Some days I can tell you I can eat as much or as little of meat as I want on any given day with full confidence that I have the complete control over how much meat I can eat, But the thing is when I'm eating carnivore foods, specifically meat and fat only. Now dairy is a little bit different, but meat and fat. When I'm eating those foods, I don't have any moderation problems. I can moderate those just fine. But what people really mean when they say, are you an abstainer or moderator, is they're saying, can you moderate sugar and carbs and fast food and processed food and junk? Or do you have to abstain from it? And what I used to think that too, but that plays back into, and sorry for everybody that's probably already heard me go on this rant a million times. But what that puts me back to is all the years I think about how I would go to doctors and dietitians, and they would say that you need to eat less calories and move more and work out. And so you're going to have these foods, and it's not really the food that's the problem. You eat your pain, you eat your sadness, you eat your feelings, you eat all this stuff. And they kept going through that. And they said, and their basic philosophy on me having deeper emotional issues that were causing eating addictions were because I wasn't able to restrict and moderate hyperpalatable processed foods. But these companies spend billions of dollars to create products that have like Chick-fil-A sandwich that they say Chick-fil-A's chicken sandwich and their sauce and stuff has like 700 chemicals in one Chick-fil-A sandwich. And they didn't put that in there so that it would, have just better shelf life. I mean, I'm sure some of it is, but it's in there because they figured out an actual chemical formula that made that damn sandwich addictive.
Or addicting.
Right. And so my question to you guys is it, do you really have emotional, and I'm not saying like there's people that do have trauma and went through some stuff for sure, but is it a catch-all that we can just say that if you have a problem moderating foods that were designed to be addictive by billion-dollar corporations that used labs and chemicals and scientists to make it addictive and put it out in our food, and then we eat it and we can't moderate those super addictive foods that blow up our brains and screw up our hormones that are also void of nutrients that our body's screaming out for satiation. When you build that perfect storm and then we can't moderate that storm, do we really have a moderating problem, or are we just not supposed to be eating that crap because it's a drug,
And more, you got an addiction problem.
Right. And so I don't think so. I think that you are atypical if you can moderate super hyper palatable addicted stuff that's been designed to be addictive. And I don't have any issue. I pray that I can be addicted to carnivore foods because it's making me so healthy, but I don't know. I don't think you can. I think we have to really change the way we think about addiction. And at the very least, this is what I was saying the other day when John was on, at the very least, knowing what I know now about how all my addictions and compulsive natures melted away after I started eating the proper human diet,
Mm-hmm.
at the very least, we should start with diet, and then whatever else is left over, then we can go talk about your childhood and how you feel about it and all those things that they spent 26 years talking to me about that never did a damn bit of good. That it was all bullcrap. It's like, take away the addictive element first, and then we'll see about the self-medicating element. That's all that I'm saying there. And so I don't think so. I don't think you can be addicted to carnivore food. I don't think that carnivore. I think that carnivore food is naturally satiating, and I think that it is the exact thing that as long as you're hormonally healthy, your body will regulate exactly what it needs when it needs it to be the most optimal healthy you can be. I really truly believe that.
I agree.
All right. So a friend of mine got a CAC score of over 400. Is it okay to still be carnivore, steak, and eggs? Yeah, I think so. But again, we're not doctors, and we don't give. Wait a minute. So a friend of mine got a CAC score of over 400. Is it okay to still be on carnivore, steak, and eggs? Is your friend carnivore? First of all, I mean, do they have a CAC score of that on carnivore and it went up, or is that what they're coming into carnivore on? If they're coming into carnivore on it, I would say yeah. But I know Dr. Phil is going to make the case where he does have a case for statins. He would still say yes, be on carnivore, absolutely. But he does have a case where he says that statins should be used for not for keeping your cholesterol low, but for I forget the wording of it, but it's basically to use it as a treatment to get rid of the plaquing and the calcium in the arteries if you are already fighting like calciumified whatever arteries or whatever. He says to use that is where statins come in handy, is to use them to release that damaged calcium on the artery walls. Use it as like a medicine. It's not to keep. You'd have to watch the video. It's on Bella's channel, or come and check him out in Steak and Butter Gang and ask him directly. But Dr. Phil has those same issues, and he's on a statin not because his cholesterol's high, but because he has a certain heart issue with the calciumified whatever artery walls. And so he's just using it to heal the arteries to help get rid of some of that built up calcium, near as I can tell. But he's using carnivore to do it because it's the best diet for anti-inflammation, and inflammation is the real cause of tearing up those arteries. So yes, in the big picture, yes, but I think you would want to talk to like a Dr. Phil or a carnivore doctor that could help you with that, I would think. But so that's just, but I'm thinking out loud. We are not doctors here for sure. Oh my God, I got up today without bending over with lower back pain. It's been slow, but it's a lot better. Yeah, absolutely. 4 months ago. Yeah, it's because that inflammation's going away. And the pain started, so I'll never go back. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. The inflammation, man, it just tears you up, and that's what keeps everybody carnivore once they go carnivores, when they realize how much they were hurting and how much pain relief is in a proper carnivore diet. It's incredible when you get rid of all that inflammation. Okay, how do you raise HDL? From what I am told, it's more about exercise, not as much diet. Is that true? I really don't know. Like I said, I'm such a bad person to ask about the HDL stuff. You should definitely come on. So next week, Dr. Phil won't be on our Friday night live stream either, but he will be the following week. So definitely try to make our Friday night live stream in 2 Fridays, and Dr. Phil will be on there, and you can ask him that question. I just so don't care about cholesterol. I was at the bottom of my list when I was 700 pounds and I was dying. This diet saved my life, and my cardiologist still told me that he was worried about my diet because of cholesterol, and I just don't listen to him. I just don't care. That's me personally, but I'm so over it. Everything that I was told was so wrong that only now listening to Phil are there a few tiny markers that I would pay attention to, but you got to be very smart about it, and I would highly recommend watching Dr. Phil's video on the Steak and Butter Gang, the last one that he did about cholesterol and these exact things, because he's addressing when it makes sense for a carnivore to take cholesterol medication, for what it's for, what the outliers are, what the risks are, and he still does. A carnivore absolutely believes that it is the best diet for healing heart disease because of the because it's the most anti-inflammatory diet there is. No worries. Appreciate you. All right. Eating cold or room temperature fat can help alleviate diarrhea. Oh, absolutely. Yep. Cold fat is way better than the rendered fat for sure. Rendered fat will get you dancing. Yeah, I ignored him. Just thanked everyone who ripped him. That's awesome. It's the best. It's the best thing to do. Occasionally, somebody will say something that'll get under my skin enough that I'll go make fun of them. But yeah, for the most part, just let them go. You guys all hear Cosette, don't you? That little shit. She's literally in there because she knows that this is the time to rattle my chain, and she's gonna get fed. She's only like that dog. I literally make Instacart orders just for her more than I do myself now because she needs meat. Oh, drives me nuts. But yeah, she's in there hijacking the live stream for stew meat. My friend got gastric bypass surgery and found a lump in her neck as she started losing weight. It turned out to be cancer. It saved her life. Oh, wow. That's awesome. Well, thank God she found that cancer. That's really good. That's awesome. Glad to hear your friend's doing better. Is there a carnivore friendly chewing gum other than Tendon? I don't really know, to be honest with you. I stay away from all that stuff, but I'm not sure. There's other reasons to stay away from chewing gum other than
I was just going to say Raymond doesn't like people chewing gum.
Yeah, because just the act of chewing and causing saliva messes with your hormones and messes with your gut microbiome because it's expecting something, right? Our gut microbiome actually turns on when we start chewing and when we start having saliva in our mouth. That's actually when the digestion process happens. So when you're chewing weird things that don't end up being food, it kind of messes with your hunger cues and stuff. So it's not necessarily a good thing actually anyways. So I think, back when I was a kid, I thought about doing this before I quit Copenhagen, but then it just went away. But back when I was a kid, they used to have jerky chew. I think if I chewed anything or had a mouth fixation or something and I wanted to play with anything, I think I'd make carnivore like dehydrated jerky chew. And I'd put a lipper in some beef. I think that might be the route to go for that. Looking forward to meeting up with you guys all over the 4th of July. Oh, that's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see you, Joe. It's going to be a good time. Let me know if you've ever been to Montana before, if you're close. Looking forward to seeing you. I felt a bit depressed today. Don't worry, it passed. But in the past, I would binge out today. I had a piece of cheese and some sparkling water and was good. That's awesome, Thomas.
Best way to be. Yep.
That's literally what happens, right? We start to heal and then we get this resolve back, and it's that carnivore calm. So that's incredible. All right. I have used the Ninja Foodie 5-in-1 for several years. I just ordered the Tasty with Bella's link yesterday. That's awesome. Yeah, they're both fantastic. I love the Ninja Foodies. Hi, Lindy, miss you, but great you are out with your daughter for sure. She's out. She's big timing us. She's out on the town. She is in the wrong spot. My depression sneaks back in occasionally too. Tom, the difference is now it is at least an hour instead of days and weeks for sure. And let me know in the chat. But when that stuff starts creeping back on me, it's from under eating every time, like every single time. Yep. Oxalate dumping creates a lot of inflammation, which can be, for sure, extremely unhealthy. According to Sally Norton, there's even an association between oxalate dumping and breast cancer. It's better to go slow. I believe that after going through it, it definitely causes a crap ton of inflammation for sure. Let's see. Question part 2. Oxalate coming from eyes keep getting a very painful cold sore inside my nose. I know it I know it's herpes, but could I also be dumping oxalates through my nose? Could be. I don't know. I've definitely had a nose sore before on oxalate dumping. This, this skin was from my lax oxalate dumping. I still have a little whatever sitting there coming out, and so yeah, I suppose. I mean, who knows where it all comes out at? But the stuff in your eyes definitely sounds like oxalate dumping for sure. But yeah, it might be in your nose for sure. I'm not sure. They can come out pretty much anywhere, to be honest with you. I was so happy for stumbling into carnivore and was able to start to feel better than I had a long time, or than I had in a long time. I'm not feeling it now. I'm suffering from what feels like achy, breaky joints. Well, that could be oxalate dumping. It could be low. You could be under eating. You could not eating enough fat. You might need some electrolytes. So there's a lot to know there. B, are you in? I feel like I see you a lot in here. Are you in the steak and butter gang? I think if you're not, I think you would really benefit from joining the steak and butter gang for a month and getting some answers to your questions because you got a lot of stuff going on there. Oh, Todd, I've heard you talk about your oxalate dumping before. It sounds awful. Yeah, it was the worst one I've gone through yet, and I did not enjoy that at all. So definitely take it slow if you can. Todd had 3 steaks, 3 strips of bacon, and 4 eggs. Was that enough? Oh, yeah, and some cheese. 3 steaks, 3 strips of bacon. I don't know how big the steaks were, but yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it sounds like a dang good start. I literally just go off
More than I ate.
Yeah, I literally just go off of how I'm feeling. Like my body does tell me sometimes. I cut these. I think I'll do a video and I'll show you guys how I cut my primal steaks. But I get these primal rib roasts that are between 18, 22, sometimes 24 pounds. And I only cut like 6 or 7 steaks out of those things because they are super thick.
Big.
Yeah, they're big ones. And when they cook down, people are like, that's not the same steak. The reality of it is when these steaks cook down, they cook down quite a bit, and they'll cook down about 1/3 of their depth. But man, all that flavor's in there. That's one reason I love to do it. And because all that fat melts down into the side of that steak, makes it even more juicy. Lets you get a really good crisp on the outside. But yeah, if any of you know that butter there, that's the Kirkland butter at Costco, and that's like, I don't know, 2.5 inches tall, roughly. That butter, 2.5, maybe even close to 2 3/4.
Yeah.
And that's steak, and I air dry them. And then once you cook those suckers, I don't know what the cooked weight is, but it's probably around. It's every bit of 2 pounds. It might be 2.5 pounds. I think some of these are even bigger than 3 pounds.
Looks like a freaking roast.
I know, and I'll eat one of those every day for sure, but a lot of times I eat 2 of those a day. Yeah, and I mean they get so crispy and so delicious, and there's nothing on there. There's no salt on there. There's no added fat, but the amount of juice that's in here, because see how much thinner it is. See from that top of that butter how much height it lost. It cooked down, so all of that fat and rendered tissue melted down inside of that steak, right? Yeah, and some of it melted out of the steak, but some of it's melted into that steak. So when you cut that thing open, it is the juiciest, most flavorful son of a gun. You slice those up thin against the grain, and man, they're delicious. And I'll eat usually 2 of those a day, so it's usually right around 5 pounds of meat a day, but they are delicious.
Anthony, doesn't it? These are the pictures I get when I'm fasting.
Yeah. Did you show him the sliced up one earlier? Put that one back up there. Yeah, for the one.
Yeah, I don't have that handy right now. I'll get it.
No worries. But yeah, they are delicious. But yeah, so do what's intuitive for you. Push the boundaries. See how much you can eat. But some days I eat just one of those, and I get to about now. Like I had one of those I had one this morning, and I can tell I'm going to eat one after this live stream. I'm going to have another one for sure. But then yesterday I just had one, and it kind of goes that way. Every other day I'll have one, then I'll have 2. So it averages out about 3. Yeah, that was the one from this morning, and yeah, that was actually a big one. I mean, that's one of those Topo Chico bottles, and that's a big cutting board. That's not a small one. So yeah, those are beautiful. But how, and I was cut very nicely, and I let that rest, and the juice is still just running out of that thing like crazy. And the more I go, I mean, there's a ton of juice on that board, but that's a nice, perfect. That one is actually just a tiny bit overcooked, maybe 30 seconds too long. But it was because it was more like a medium rare. I like them like blue to rare right in here. But this side was still pretty good. But yeah, they turn out beautiful, and those things are so flavorful because all that rendered down fat renders down into that thick steak. See, when it's really thin, you can overcook it really easy, but all the rendered fat just runs out of the steak. When it's really thick, it kind of condenses down, and you have a lot more juice inside that steak. Man, is it tasty! I got to tell you. Hey, everyone, don't forget to click the thumbs up. It helps people find the stream. Thank you so much, Charlie. I hope you and Marilyn are doing good. It was great to see you in SBG today. Taste buds change for sure. 150% they do.
They do. Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hope you and Marilyn are doing awesome. Thanks, Charlie. Your dedication here is appreciated. Well, thank you so much, Charlie. We appreciate you always being here, and you and Marilyn always watching and being in the audience, and also what you guys do in SBG. You guys are awesome. Such a blessing. All right. Thank God you're saying all this, Todd. The psychiatric system is totally full of shit. Yeah, and so many things. Plus, the meds make you gain weight too. Yeah, well, and it's just like, they've had the football for forever, and everybody's getting sicker and getting worse. So at what point do we just stop listening to their bullshit and start, going back to what was working? None of this stuff is rocket science. Like, we're just going back to what all of our ancestors ate and how they ate for forever when they didn't have all these problems. The real problem is, I'm not saying that every medication is bad, and I'm not saying there's not a reason to never have a medication, and I'm not saying that every vaccine is bad, and I'm not saying that every supplement is bad, but 99% of them I think are bullshit. 99% of them I think have just been now, it just took off, and now it's treated like, it's such a business and such a propaganda machine that they're just doing it on purpose. And we've gotten so far from what we had been doing that, now the cure is way worse than the disease, And if we just go back, this what's so ridiculous that people sit here and tell us. I mean, look at all these questions that come in week after week after week after week after week. And everybody's like, how much can I eat meat? How much of the cholesterol is too bad? And we hear all this stuff, right? And people say, well, you can't say that with any certainty because there's not enough studies done on carnivore. And it's like, holy shit, for the first, depending on what your belief system is and how we got here, we're anywhere from from 5,500 years to 13,000 years to like 13.5 million years have human beings been here. I think the consensus is between 13,000 and 5,500 years, right? But whatever, our species has been here for a real long time eating meat. I don't know that there's been a more studied, studied, tested, and tried system or food or nutrient out there than meat, because our entire species has persisted on it since the beginning of our species.
Oh, you mean right? there wasn't McDonald's back then?
Right. And then meanwhile, they bring up now supplements, drugs, vaccines, all the bullshit. And they're like, no, this right here is tried and true. Your stuff hasn't been tested. And it's like, our stuff has been tested since the beginning of time. Your stuff has had the reins for the last 7 years. And now 74 to 88% of us are sick, fat, overweight, and metabolically sick. And there's more disease and drugs and cancers and fat people and sick people and mentally ill people than have ever existed before on your guys' watch. So why in the hell are we listening to these people? It's just like, it's because they're selling us a fake illusion of safety, and it doesn't exist. Like if we take our own health in our hands and we just go back to the very simple things, we stand a way better chance at thriving, And then if we do the hard work, because the real reason that everybody wants to count a macro and use a scale is because everybody's trying to take something that's somewhat nuanced and complicated because we're trying to biohack to get the best results and to get the best assurances we can on our health, right? And we want to see it in a number or a stat or whatever. But honestly, those answers are a little bit more nuanced, and it takes a lot of research and work, and it takes understanding things better. But you can do that too if you put your mind into the carnivore communities and the worlds, and everybody shares information. And the more that awesome doctors like Dr. Phil, that's an SBG gang, and Dr. Chafee and Dr. Baker and Dr. Kiltz and Dr. Hampton, and those people start coming out, we can probably have the best of both worlds. We could probably have our ancestrally appropriate diet and nutrients, as well as having a better scientific understanding of why those things are better, so that when there's weird outliers or small genetic differences, we can navigate those situations a little bit more safely or more optimally or whatever. I think that hybrid system does exist, but it's not the way it is now. Not the way that they've completely and totally turned it into a money-making scam, Yeah, the pandemic absolutely woke a lot of people up. But hey, there's a new pandemic, and it's called mRNA vaccines in our beef and in our animals. And it's what they're doing to our chickens right now, and it's what they're doing to our ruminant animals. And here pretty soon, I'm going to have Tyler McCann on again from Wyoming. He's a rancher, and we have got to, all of us as a community have got to start blowing the whistle on that, because that, to me, it's their end game that they're trying to do to make sure that we all end up eating lab grown meat. So, yeah, I appreciate it, big dog. All right, let's move on to the next one.
His hat just got smaller.
You're right. I never get to hear that. I'm going to start recording these. I ate 75% beef patty, Bella's cottage cheese and egg bread for breakfast, and Bella's Scotch egg for dinner. Still so full. That's awesome. Yeah, Scotch eggs are delicious. I didn't know she had a Scotch egg recipe, but I've been wanting to try one of those. Scotch eggs look delicious. Has anyone developed a distaste for cheese? Cheese has always been a go-to. Cheat for me, love it. But just now, I had a piece after not having it for a while, and it was nasty. Kind of, yeah. I mean, I can tell you this for sure, that I have a discerning cheese palate now. Like, I only get to do it once a year. I'll let myself have some cheese for either Christmas or Thanksgiving. I pick one. But definitely you can't do the cheap crappy cheeses anymore. When you do the cheap crappy cheeses, you can taste all the nastiness in them. Now my favorite is like the Tillamook extra sharp white cheddar. I like that. Or those, I forget what those matzo balls are called again.
With everybody talking about cheese, I saw this today, and this looks so freaking good.
Yeah, go for it. Looks like a carnivore cottage pie. I'll take one of those.
That looks so good, man.
It does look delicious. Oh man, I'm gonna eat the heck out of this ribeye after this live stream now. No, that does look good for sure. But yeah, my taste buds have definitely changed. So, all right. Getting 2 tickets for barbecue fireworks. There's a spot for a coupon. Is there a coupon? Thanks. I don't think there is. I think that just came with the thing. We priced it as low as we could because
for what you're getting, yeah.
Well, quite literally. Well, that's what was funny because I already had a couple people go $150, and I was like, if we sell all 300 tickets at $150, that's $45,000. Just the fireworks we're lighting off costs 50. So the food and the wedding tent and all the place settings and all the stuff, I'm like, we price this as cheap as we could possibly get it because we're also flying out the doctors and paying for their accommodations and stuff. That's just, I mean, and I mean, they're gracious for doing that because they're giving us their time, but of course we can't let it cost them money, but they're not charging us for doing the event or anything because they're spreading the word too. But these events have to be able to pay for getting them there because otherwise it's an expense and everybody runs out of money. And so
no one's gonna want to do it.
Well, you can't do it, like I don't get to go to all these that I want to go to every year because it's just expensive, And so that's what these are designed to do. And the cost is just a ton. So yeah, so we just priced it. This is our first meetup, so we wanted to price it as competitively as we can and get the price down as good as we can. So we didn't have a coupon code just yet. It just comes with the software.
And no other meetup has fireworks.
It's true. And there's a really good chance you're going to get to see me blow myself up. So it's happened before on a few occasions.
And if it happens, please send me a video,
guys. Michael wants to see me have people put my hat out again. I don't know if people might not know what happened in the year of 2017, but yeah, we had a little accident. But anyways, we'll leave that for another time.
Mm-hmm.
But all right.
I got the video footage of the news reporter.
Yeah, that was funny. I did make the news a couple of times. Oh, we're writing this down. You're a genius, Todd. Thank you so much. I tell Michael this all the time, and he just doesn't listen. That you've realized the truth in spite of the doctors tell you. Oh, for sure. And I mean, like everybody, we're all seeing that. That's what the beauty is that there's a massive awakening of everybody in the people. And if we put all this crap out there, everybody is going to be really wise to this because all we have to do, this isn't that hard to fight if we're all consistent with it and we all show results going back to what we were doing. And then I think we just have to remind people they've had the football for like 70 years and everybody got sicker and sicker and sicker. Why are we still listening to these people? These people are not helping. They don't want to help. They're not here to help. They're here to make money. They're here to fearmonger and turn us into little products, little money pots for them that just keep paying them so that we can feel safer, which is such a silly thing. These people can't even, the number one killer of cardiologists is still heart disease. They can't save themselves.
Right. So how are they going to save anybody else?
Yeah. It's like, why are we giving these people our money? Insulin response to gum too. Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Todd, didn't Dr. Phil also get interviewed by Rochelle? Yep, he got interviewed by Rochelle too. That's a good point. And tomorrow in Dr. Kiltz's gang in the Kiltz tribe, Dr. Phil's getting interviewed there tomorrow as well. So go check that out, please. All right. No, I'm not an SBG. Thank you for the invite to aid my journey. Yeah, please come on over. I think it would help you a lot.
In that video that they were talking about, Cranky post.
Thank you, Cranky.
I didn't get a chance to look it up.
Appreciate it. Thanks, John. I would say at least 1.5 pounds each. And about 8 pats of butter. Yeah, I think you're doing really good. And I think just keep on that. Like try to find your tolerance for what, your body will tell you when it's too much and your body will tell you when it's not enough. That's what the priming protocol is built for. And I know that you're dealing with the diabetes. You got to be real careful with your blood. So I get it. But yeah, I mean, that's a really good, I bet that you're doing better with the amount that you're eating and the nutrients you're getting in every day than you probably have ever before, Thomas. And it's going to start paying big dividends. Thank you, Todd, for answering my question. Yeah, no worries. Appreciate you guys coming and always hanging out with us on Sundays. You guys are awesome.
That's why we do this.
Absolutely. All this talk about meat tells me it must be lunchtime. I've got hard-boiled eggs and sausage today. Oh, that's awesome. That sounds delicious. Any good news? A question and good news. My sugars never went above 157 today, and that's with no insulin at all. Wow, that is huge. That's awesome. Great work. Yeah, man, I can't wait to see where you're at in 6 months. It's going to be incredible, man.
How long has he been going now?
I think you've been, Thomas, haven't you been about 4 months or 4 or 6 months now? I forget. So many awesome carnivore stories every month. I forget. Michael, I have 4 baked eggs and a large ramekin every morning, 20 minutes in the oven at 350.
There you go.
Grease
Maybe this was
ramekin.
your video.
That's awesome. No cheese usually cause of stalls. Absolutely. Sounds delicious, though. I'll be in the tribe chat at 5 a.m. It's not I don't think it's the 5 a.m. tribe chat, though. It's
No?
I think it's the tribe. I think it's a Zoom call in the tribe. I think is what it is. Go check that out. I'm going to figure it out because I'm going to try to be there tomorrow. Thank you for all you do. I purchased my tickets for the Montana meetup this morning. I hope to meet some Montana carnivores that may live close to me. That's awesome. Well, I'm there. So I live in Bozeman. Where do Linda? Oh yeah, Mergenthaler. Are you part of Mergenthaler Transportation? Is that your family? Mergenthaler is all over Bozeman. So, but yeah, Linda, I live in Bozeman. So let me know. Let me know if you're from around Bozeman or where you're at. Baby ribeye for dinner, 8 ounces and eggs. That's awesome. Let's see. I live in Polson. Oh, awesome. You're not too far for me. Well, I'm originally from Miles City, but I know I've been to Polson several times. So, yeah. I know there's carnivores in the state, so hopefully we get a bunch of them. So that's awesome, Linda. All right. Did we catch up on all the questions?
We did. There we got one right here.
2 months with you guys and a bit longer with Carrie. I'll be what I consider to be full carnivore 3 months on April 1st.
It's getting close, bud. It's awesome.
That's awesome. You are almost there. So excited. It's going to be a good time, Linda. That's awesome. All right.
Come on, guys, you guys are slacking.
Yeah, I haven't even had like caffeine or something today, and I caught up to you guys. All right. Let me go look at something too.
There we go.
Where can I find more about the mRNA in chickens? I'm going to be finding that out for you in the weeks to come. So I was talking to a rancher, and he was saying that what's disturbing about it is that he believes that they've already been in, I think, the pork. They started putting it in the pork already in 2022. The mRNA vaccine's already going in the pork, and I think that might be why I don't feel good on pork, because I've almost never eat it anymore because I don't feel good. And they started doing that in 2022. And then also he said that they don't have to have approval to slip it into the vaccine. So imagine that all the ranchers are getting vaccines, and because they've been vaccinating their cows, they have to for forever. But at any given time, without warning, they can change the formula and put the mRNA vaccine in the vaccines without warning anybody, right? And they can do this without approval, it sounds like. And what this rancher was saying, he goes, I think that happened last year. He said, because I vaccinated my steers last year, and he said 4 of them came out of the chute and dropped dead from vaccination right when he vaccinated them. So anyhow, we got to start blowing the whistle, the fact that they can do that. And so right now, we've been fighting off really hard getting the GPS trackers on the cattle, because part of this, the reason why they want the GPS trackers and they want the mRNA vaccines in the cattle is so that they can track all the cattle and make sure that they've got the vaccine. So imagine that they put the ear tags on the cattle they want to go on. Then they'll have a GPS list of where all those cattle are, and they'll be on the list. And then they'll have to see a vaccine will have like a serial number and say, or whatever. I'm guessing this is how it works. But they'll be able to cross off those cattle on their list, and they're going to know which cattle have been vaccinated, which ones haven't. And why would you want to track something that closely unless you were trying to absolutely wipe out an entire species seed origin of animal because you're trying to ruin it? I think that they're deathly afraid or deathly, I don't know, I think they want to control the cattle so badly because I think ruminant animals are so healing for people that I don't think that they can. I'm just going to say it because I don't care anymore. I think that they can't push their population control agenda when people are still able to heal on ruminant beef and eggs. Okay. And so they're trying to track it down. And so we've been fighting like hell to keep the GPS ear tags off of the cattle. Well, they got it passed through the dairy cattle, it sounds like. So now the dairy cows that are 18 months or older have to have these GPS trackers. Next, they'll get them to have to have these mRNA vaccines. They're saying that because supposedly in some of these raw dairy farms, the dairy cows got the avian bird flu and gave it to some of the dairy workers at the farms, right? Oddly enough, that's happening in these farms that don't even have raw milk. But anyhow, they're going after raw dairy. They're going after eggs, and that's why they're killing off millions and millions of chickens, which is why your eggs started costing $10 and $12 a dozen. And they're going after ruminant animals. The gateway into this sounds like it's at the 18-month-old dairy cows, but soon they're going to use that little loophole, and that's that slippery slope to take it all the way down to the 6-month-old and 1-year ruminant animal meat that we eat. And they are trying to ruin, in my opinion, this is just my concern, is that they're going to try to ruin the source DNA and the source seed of all of our ruminant meat so that they can sell us lab grown meat, so that they can say, oh, well, we tried. Unfortunately, the darn avian flu came in and killed off all the natural beef. And, because species can go extinct. What would happen if all of our ruminant animals got made to go extinct because of, just that? Well, we didn't know that was going to happen. It turns out that vaccine just, they won't care. Look at I'm so going to get kicked off.
See, your second strike's coming.
Yeah. Did you see that video with Brett Weinstein that I posted in the team chat about I'm just going to hold on. I'll go get it. And then I'm not going to say another word. You guys, I'm not going to address this because I will get kicked off. Copy. I'm going to put this link in the chat. You guys go watch it on your own time. But this is where our last mRNA vaccine went, and that's the real numbers of bullshit that it caused. And now they're going to try to do it to our ruminant animals. Like, this is the hill that I'll die on. Like, this is the pry from my cold dead fingers moment. See what happens when you're not here to calm me down, Lindy. But no, I mean, we got to push back.
That's the truth. Yeah.
We got to push back on these sons of bitches, and we cannot let them get away with this. This is the last stand. We cannot let them have our beef. We cannot let them have our ruminant animals. They cannot screw our food supply. And that is what they're trying to do. It's absolutely obvious. Is this because of the bird flu? It's because of a bird flu false flag scamdemic, is my opinion. Yeah. That's what they're trying to do. It's never because of that. This stuff didn't exist before, right? And it's just so ridiculous. It's just so ridiculous. There's so much out there now. So that's how they're going to make their money. Absolutely. First, they're going to sell. I mean, look what the last mRNA vaccines made, right? That we just had to take for the last scamdemic. And now look what ones these are going to make. And then they're going to kill off or at least really hurt the meat supply. Maybe they don't kill it all, but I was also talking to this rancher. He's like, you know why beef's so expensive was because during the 2020 pandemic, they killed so many beef cows and it doesn't have a quick turnaround. It takes
hell
like
no.
6 to 8 years to get that back. So that's why I'm over here paying $250 for a week's supply of ribeyes because they're god awful expensive now and they shouldn't be, you know? All right. This makes Aunt B's cage rattle for sure. Let's rattle them all. And we all got to just get together and we got to start supporting our local farmers. But we have to have a talk with our farmers. Say, if you vaccinate those sons of bitches, we're not buying them. So we'll stand behind you. And I mean, we need to stand behind them when the shit hits the fan too. When people come try to take their cows, we need to stand behind our ranchers and we need to be there to show up. You know, all I'm going to say is well organized militia. I'm going to put that out there real quick and move on. Todd, just making sure, did you see my interview today with Carrie and your thoughts? Well, I haven't saw it. I pretty much, since I got up, I've been running, but I will take a look at it for sure. Definitely post it in the chat, Target. Would love, or Thomas, we'd love to get that out there for you. Oh. Did I click on something? Did you click on something?
No, I didn't click on nothing at all.
Okay.
You're the one that's clicking.
I know. I was trying to fix and then things were moving. All right. I've been having issues with gout on carnivore. It's my second week-long bout since November. Any experience with this? I used to experience gout all the time. It finally went away. Phil talks about something that mimics gout, though. Dr. Phil does. First of all, how carnivore is my second long week. How long have you been on carnivore, first of all? We're going to have to need, if you've been doing this a long time, you've been gout free and then you're starting to get it, it could be oxalate dumping or something different completely. Phil talks about something that mimics gout and it's not actually gout. Where are you getting the gout to? That's kind of a telltale sign of that. Well, tell me what joint you're getting gout in. Yeah. In fact, it's been going on, and like the U.S. is the last stand against it, and it's been going on everywhere else for a long time. At least they are playing evil for sure. 100%. Wonder if mRNA in feed is why liver has gotten so far. Yeah, it could be. Actually, like liver, but lately it's been just mush. Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it at all. Yeah, I believe so too. You're right, Todd. Oh my God, has Brooke Rawlings addressed any of this? Not that I know of, but we are going to get this out there, and I think we're going to start seeing this. And this is the time we need to do it too, with the Maha movement going on. We've got to shine a spotlight on this, and not only that, but we got to find the sons of bitches that are actually pushing this stuff and their agenda, and we got to start going after the root cause of this nonsense and stop letting this stuff. And we got to, these people that are letting this stuff come in, the Food and Drug Administration, those people, yep. Like, I mean, look how sick everybody's getting, and we're still listening to these idiots like they're doing a bang up job. Like, it's time to start cleaning house. Like, that's one of the next swamps that need to be drained. Just finalized our tickets. We live in Spokane and are anxious to have some great food and celebrate America. That's awesome. I can't wait. That's awesome. Can't wait to see you. You're not too far at all from us. I've drove to Spokane a few times. How do you think we can fight the mRNA vaccine in our farm animals? Are they having any luck fighting the GPS ticks? I think we have to make it a big deal. I think we have to stop eating the meat that's most likely to come from those places and make it known. Here's one thing that we have as carnivores. I mean, we do. We are, is the more carnivores that we can make, and the more that we are the market for the meat, then we can control what the meat market does, right? Because we are going to be who they have to sell to. So we got to pay the extra money and support our local farmers, but we got to be able to shake the hand of those guys and say, What are you putting in this animal? Where did this animal come from? Was its mom vaccinated? Was its dad's vaccinated? Did you vaccinate this thing? What was in the vaccine? And we got to be able to have answers to those. And then we have to be able to find some clean meat, and we have to start supporting those farmers tooth and nail. And that's what I mean. Not just by buying, we got to buy from them, but also if any stupid stuff comes, if any 3-letter agencies come and say, no, we're going to shut this down, if they try to push really hard, we all have to be ready to push back, run them out of our state, say, you have no jurisdiction here. Get the hell out of here. Don't touch our food. We're not worried about the bird flu, scamdemic, like if you kill my cows, you're going to get killed back type of thing. We're going to stop you from hurting our food supply. We can't just let them do it. This has got to be the hill that we die on. This has got to be the stand that we take, and we got to make those people that are going to try to kill our animals and play this stupid game, we got to make them know that they're going to face, a strong resistance, not to sound all crazy, but that's the truth. We can't let them take our food.
Do before it's too late. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to take a stand.
And look what's going on with the bees too. They're killing off the bees, and that's going to cause problems.
Right. Yeah, starting next week, the Carnivore Channel. Well, look, it's a good time to do it. So, first of all, I'm not a very big, I don't care. Cut my stupid YouTube channel off. These people can go eat crap for all I care. A bunch of freaking commies anyways. But, the fact of the matter is that I think we're all going to have to go to Rumble, because we're going to have to, we can't beat around the bush anymore. And we got to say what's really happening. I'm not looking to go off on any wild conspiracy theories, but we have to have accountability. We have to know what's really going through there, and watch that video that I just put in the chat. I really respect Brett Weinstein and his brother, Eric Weinstein. Been watching them for a long time. They've been on Joe Rogan a bunch of times. Brett Weinstein was the one that wrote a thesis in college about the elongated telomeres in lab rats that they use for testing drugs on, and how they're purposely manipulating the telomeres to make the lab rats more resistant to the drug, so that they could show that the lab rats didn't have side effects from the drug, so that they could pass them. But they were manipulating the lab rats to be more resistant to poisons, so that they could basically, they had a higher tolerance against it than the human beings that they're going to give them to. And Brett Weinstein posted that a long time ago, and he was on Joe Rogan about it. And these epidemiology peer-reviewed studies, or peer-reviewed boards that it was going through, they took his thesis, buried it, and then also took the information and created near as I can tell, they created like a lab rat business out of it, building and selling high-dollar test rats to drug companies that had elongated telomeres, so that they could that they were more likely to have the drug pass. So then all of a sudden, genetically altered lab rats were on high demand, and they're making a bunch of money off of growing a certain type of lab rat. This is how stupid the game is that they're playing. And so watch that and see what the last scamdemic mRNA vaccine, and see if you want that in our meat, and see what you're willing to do to keep it from happening. Let's see. So great, done. Thank you, Jules. There are a lot of people that are boycotting YouTube and going to Rumble. I saw that. Steven Crowder, Russell Brand, Tim Pool. I can't remember if Ruben Report's going over there, but yeah, I know. And I got to say, I just got the most views off of any video that I've ever gotten from our last Friday live stream on Rumble. So I'm definitely leaning that direction anyways, to where I don't really give a crap what YouTube does. And also everybody's saying that their channels aren't growing at all on YouTube anyhow, because anybody that's telling the truth is just shadow banned anyways,
That's what they always did. They always done it like that.
Right. So let's just all be brave enough to go where, we got to get off of these platforms and stop letting these people control the information. Let's go to X. Let's go to Rumble. Let's go to where we can speak freely, so that we can call.
There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, and let's go call bullshit on the people that need bullshit called on it, and let's point a spotlight on them and make them accountable, So, thank you so much. I appreciate you, Beck. All right. Oh, we got a super chat. I didn't even see that. Hey, Gunther. Hi, Todd. What is the fat protein ratio in grams that you eat now? Also, if you only have ribeye during a meal, is that grass fed? How many ounces is it? How many tablespoons of butter do you add? So many questions. So, what it is I get the primal cuts of ribeye. So, I don't buy ribeye steaks that already have the fat cut off of them. I go get the primal roasts at Costco. So, they have all the fat on them. So, like out of, I would say out of, let's say 20 pounds of ribeye, I would say like 3 to 4 pounds of it is just pure white fat just on that end, plus the fat that's in the middle. So it's already by volume, it's already about probably 40% fat alone, 30 to 40% fat. And that's pretty much all that I eat with the fat in there. Now, how many grams is that ribeye? You're a grams guy. All right, let me figure it out here. Each ribeye that I eat, and I eat 1 to 2 a day, depending just by taste. All right, hold on. Sorry, I got to do the grams because I think what in there like 19 grams in an ounce or something, or 39.
907 grams. If it's a 2 pound.
907.
Yeah, in a 2 pound steak.
Yeah, so I'm probably eating in a 2 pound steak, so it's basically like 500 grams. Or no, it's basically like 450 grams. So I'm eating somewhere between 1150 and 1350 grams of steak per meal. And sometimes I do that twice a day. The fat, I've been trying to eat it raw. The fat's probably then like 200 grams of it roughly. And then sometimes I do add butter or I'll have whipped tallow with it. So, but I completely do the fat now to taste. I do not track. I did track for a long time on a 1-to-1 uh, gram ratio, but now I don't have to do that anymore. I just eat intuitively what my taste is. Sometimes my body wants the fat first and I eat all the fat, and I've been eating it raw, like Kelsey said, and I quite enjoy it. And then sometimes I completely cut the fat off and I'm not enjoying it at all and I don't want it. And so I literally just go by that, whatever. So I hope that helps you. But I used to be an 80-20 by fat calorie to protein, 80% of my calories coming from fat. And now I just don't have to pay attention anymore. So, all right. Oh, he says carnivore since October. Awesome. Gout. So October, November, December, January. Okay. So about 6 months. Gout is in my right foot. All right. So sounds like gout. Sounds like the real thing. It did take me about 4 or 5 months for my gout to completely go away on carnivore. But you shouldn't be getting it. And you should be drinking lots of water. But I think it did take some time for that uric acid and lactic acid to get out of my system. Because I really think the gout is just an inflammation disease. I think that's all it really is, from sugar. Yeah, exactly. Even cancer. I know, it's absolutely disgusting. And let's see. I forgot to answer this part of your question. Sorry, Gunther. But as far as it's just it's grain fed. I really don't think, especially I heard Alyssa say this the other day, and she only eats lamb because she's so sensitive to even any kind of beef or whatever. And the grass fed to grain fed makes no difference to her as far as the sensitivity goes. And I haven't noticed any difference. And so, some of the people that do notice a difference say that it's like a 5% difference. To me, eating grain finished beef keeps me carnivore. And I personally have a different belief. I'm a Christian. I believe that ruminant animals are kind of protected from the nonsense. I believe, I'm just going to throw this out there, but I'm not preaching to anybody, but this is how I see it. Ruminant animals were used for sacrifice in the Bible. And I think today we're seeing them. I think that there's a parallel there. And I think that ruminant animals have always been here to sacrifice for our benefit, right? And I think that the ruminant animals and their stomachs, they're so perfectly designed for our purpose and our health of being here, that those four stomachs are so powerful at taking whatever you feed it and taking whatever toxins and bullcrap that they get exposed to, and through the ruminant process in their stomach, it absorbs all the nasty crap, filters it out, and gives it back to us in the most absorbable, nutrition that we can possibly get out of it. So I think that that's their purpose, and I don't think that it much matters grass for grain because I think ruminant animals are so powerful. I don't think it makes a huge difference in my personal opinion. I think it'd be very tiny, so I don't worry about that too much. So I do eat grain finish. So I'm going to start inviting non-carnivores to watch your live so that they can get introduced to this lifestyle and ask questions live. We want more carnivores. That's awesome. Yeah, just I know a lot of carnivores that just leave their laptops open, like when we're in SBG gang, when we're online or whatever, and they just put it out there, and then eventually people hear it enough. And especially when you're feeling better and you are that example that you're eating this big scary meat and doing all eating all this big scary cholesterol and stuff, but you feel better, you have better mental health, you think better, your body gets in better shape, you're healthier, you have less inflammation, you don't hurt as much. When all that stuff comes full circle, then they're still going to be hurting because they're still eating the standard American diet, and they'll start asking more questions, and yeah, absolutely, they'll come around. Let's see what we got here. I only asked because I undermined, but Todd, do you have any emergency bacon under your hat? No emergency bacon. I haven't really eaten anything but ribeye and New York strip, water, and Tabasco sauce. And
you're not even doing eggs anymore.
No, I pretty much only eat steak, water, and Tabasco sauce, for not even salt, for the last maybe 4 months, 3 months, somewhere in there. For my Friday and Saturday during Lent, I've had to master my carnivore cracker for my salmon patties. I need a filler, or can I eat 10 fish? Oh, I gotcha. For my salmon patties. That's awesome. That sounds delicious. Yeah, I love salmon patties. I'd love to know if you have a good recipe for them. That's one thing I miss is salmon patties. That was one of my favorite ones. We used to make them with saltine crackers. So yeah, I'd love to know what your substitution is. Trying to increase my fat, but get upset stomach every time. Carnivore 10 months. Tried several types and ways. Is it possible my body doesn't want it? Trying to increase to heal health issues. Yeah, I mean, you should be trying, like, when you try to increase your fat, you shouldn't do it in like a monster, like you shouldn't do it like I'm going to have 4 extra ounces. You should literally just try like an extra ounce, and try to eat intuitively. And then it's just going to take a while for some people for their stomach to heal, for their stomach acid to culture and be able to handle the fat. It can take time. It can take, some people, it takes them 6-8 months before it heals up. But you just got to keep feeding it and stay in the course, and then just eat intuitively, and then you will definitely heal. But if you're eating so much fat that it's just making you sick, you're not getting the benefit of it anyways. It's just going through you. So just try to bump it up a little at a time. This is one of those times where if you feel for sure that you're not getting enough fat, then this is one of those times that I would try to make like the butter bites, or freeze butter in little molds so you can swallow frozen. And then you could take like 1 a day or 1 per meal. Then the next week, if you didn't have any problems, you could take like 2 per meal. And the next day you could take like 3 per meal. And you could just start adding them in over time and seeing how that treats you. Let's see. I just ate a giant T-bone steak topped with Malden smoked sea salt flakes with a large side of cold butter pieces. Yum, absolutely popping. That sounds delicious.
Good.
That's the breakfast of champions, you know. That's why I put that picture in the team chat the other day, because I'm like, yeah, we're supposed to feel all sad, you know, that we're not here, you know, eating Pop Tarts and rice cakes because we're just having these darn ribeyes, you know. It's like, man, these things are awesome. All right. I'm stuffed with delicious, nutritious meat, and it feels so great. Absolutely does. It pays you back for months to come. Let's see. I know I need to be patient. It's not Amazon or microwave, absolutely. But I can't wait to get the results and have people ask questions so I can tell them about carnivore without sounding crazy. Absolutely. I mean, I'm still there. I'm still there. You know, I'm still like, I got a lot of work to do, especially before I start making these meetups and stuff, because I still weigh 390 pounds. And, you know I don't blame anybody for going, why am I going to listen to this crazy 390-pound dude talk about being healthy? Like, I get it. And I knew that from the day that I started my channel. So I understand this frustration, but
yeah. But you're almost half that man that you were when you started.
Yeah, I will be. I'll be exactly half the size that I was probably in another 2 or 3 months. But they don't know that. And I understand that. Like, it's not shocking to me at all. And so I share your enthusiasm to want to get there, because, you know, I'm not here because I lost, 300 pounds. I'm here because I'm finally free from food addiction, and I finally feel good, and I finally am healthy, and I finally got rid of, the depression and anxiety and all the things. And this is so sustainable.
Little voice in the back of your head telling you to go stick something in your mouth.
Right. And so that's why I'm really here. And nobody wants to hear it when you're still have work to do. But that's fine, because we're creating a track record and all the stuff. I mean, it's still fun right now when I get a comment on a video that I did over a year ago and over 120 pounds ago, where they say, you're going to be dead in 6 weeks. You're never going to make it. This is not sustainable. And I'm like, well, I got bad news for you. That video is over a year old, and I'm another 120 pounds lighter, and I'm still doing it. So, ta-da. So just have fun with that. Have fun with those conversations, and just challenge people, because it does keep you accountable too. When you say, well, stay tuned and you can watch for yourself. You can hold my feet to the fire, and I'll show you the way out of this, and you'll see, and at first they'll think you're crazy. And then in a year from now, they'll start going, oh, there's something onto this. And in 5 years from now, you will have disciples, because they're going to be like, holy crap, this worked, And we're all so excited. I heard a great saying that I love, because we all get this kind of carnivore excitement, and we all kind of want to go out and evangelize everybody. And we do have to curve that to be more palatable to everybody, and to actually draw more people in. But I do love this. Somebody remind me of this old saying that says, I'd rather try to tame a Mustang than inspire a mule, And I think we all have to, it's okay to be excited about it and learn how to craft our message, and to get as many people over, wake as many people up. But I'm so glad that you're excited about it, because it's way easier to, tame a Mustang than it is to try to inspire a mule, try to get somebody that's not on fire at all to carry this torch is difficult. All right. The fat tastes good, and tried aminos. Just my stomach gets upset. Tried 3 different times over the last few months. Well, I would have to know what you're actually eating for fat. Like, what does that meal look like? And are you certain that it's the fat? And so tell me what that meal looks like, please. Move on to another one while you're doing that. Todd probably got totally sick of eggs when he did eggs for priming. I did eat a lot of eggs, but honestly, I just got tired of ordering them, and then they didn't show up because there's an egg shortage. I just got so sick of it about 4 months ago. And you know what it's like to look forward to, like when I made it part of my routine, I trained myself to want those things. And then all of a sudden it's getting harder and harder to get here. And then they're getting expensive enough. I'm like, I was paying $15 for an omelet of eggs. And I'm like, I'm only like $4 away from a big ribeye.
Ribeye, yep.
Yeah, so I was just like crap on it. So I just been, to what I do to balance the money out is I'll get a ribeye primal roast, and then I'll get a strip loin roast because strip loin roasts are about 40% cheaper. And then I'll have one steak each meal. So one steak I'll have a ribeye, the other one I'll have a New York strip. And that's just basically how I've been going about it. And I feel great. They taste great every time. I never get meat aversion at all anymore. And I just eat the heck out of them when they taste good. When they stop tasting good, I stop eating them. Why not use the pork rinds? Okay, they can be hard on digestion, number one. Two, they take up a lot of room in your stomach. And most people are under eating. And so if they swell up and take up a bunch of room, kind of like you're putting a giant sponge in there or something that soaks up and takes a while to break down, then it's going to keep you from getting the nutrients that you need, especially if you're under eating. That's not a great thing. And then it can be a bunch of them. There's only like one or two clean pork rinds. The majority of the pork rinds are dirty. And so they're fried in seed oils and have spices and all sorts of junk in them. They're not high quality. And then there's a really good chance that pork skin is coming off of a pig that's been vaccinated with an mRNA vaccine too. So keep that in mind. All right. Pork panko for salmon patties. Yeah. Yeah. Those sound okay. The problem that I have with using pork panko in things that get kind of wet, like that get kind of wet and don't have a dry fry to them, is that that pork panko stuff. It turns back into like a weird chewy slimy collagen when it gets wet. Like put a pork rind in water and then try to eat that. Oh, it's so gross. That texture is like
mushy and
yeah, I'm gonna puke. It makes you feel like you're eating raw skin again. Yeah,
it was sitting in water.
Yeah, it's so gross. Oval Guy Carnivore has salmon recipe video. Maybe check it out. Definitely will. Let's see. But you see, Todd is also letting people partake in your journey as well as your final destination. Yeah, thanks so much, Thomas. Yeah, and that's kind of what I ended on, and now I'm happy about it. I definitely had my doubts when I first did this. The only reason why I did a channel at all was to talk to Bill Knott, because I was 6 or 7 months ahead of Bill Knott's journey, and I wanted to let him know that, that this works. And so that was the whole point. And then I got on here, and then I got a bunch of haters, and I was like, all right, that actually lit the fire that I needed, because I don't mind a good fight. So we started going to battle with the haters, and then I just started having fun, loving doing it. So yeah, it's just like, yeah, why not? It holds my feet to the fire. It keeps me accountable. People, if I'm full of crap and this doesn't work and I'm wrong, you guys will all get to see it, because I'll fall flat on my face. And
right.
If it's not and this is right, then you guys all get to see that too. And ultimately, I believe, I have an ethos or a worldview that you can't lose if you seek truth and meaning. So if I'm wrong, that's not a loss, because then we checked it out. A lot of people learn from it, and I'm not going to be lost in my own bias. Like there'll be enough people to call me out on the reality of what's going on, and then we change course, right? Like you never lose finding truth. So even if you believe something that's wrong, but your only objective wasn't to be right or to be proven that you were right in a way of thinking, but only to prove that you were looking for the answer and the truth in it, then when you find the truth, you win. Because whether you don't want to be going around believing things that are wrong and doing things that don't work. So it's always good to put yourself out there to be in kind of an element of truth and meaning, to be exposed to criticism and correction, because you're only going to stand firm in it if it's real. And if it's not, it's going to crumble. So that's when I realized, yeah, this this aligns with with my belief system. This aligns with my ethos. So why not just put it all out there? Take the ridicule, use that as fuel to go harder and to stay accountable, and then we'll all learn from it together. And that's why I think all of you, everybody's got an example to be for the next guy. So everybody should be doing this, and let's just put it all together. And then let's not be married to any bad dogma, but let's be real. Let's just strive for truth and meaning. Let's strive to find the truth, what the real answer is and how it works, and not be dogmatic about anything. Carnivores aren't weird or different. We are the elites, folks. I like it. That dog. Do you hear her out there? She's just shaking mom down right now. She's like, he won't listen to me. He shut the door. That turd. All right. 4-ounce cream cheese, softened, blend smooth, 1 tablespoon of gelatin, 1 tablespoon of protein, calls for a 1/2 ounce of baking powder, but not necessary. Mix 1 egg, drop in parchment. Oh, wow. So that's the crackers. That sounds really good. That sounds really tasty. I'm gonna skin that dog. You're gonna wake up. You guys are gonna tune in one day, and you're gonna see a poodle skin rug on this wall back here. That dog is shaking me down again. I won't eat these crackers after Lent, just for getting you through Lent. That's awesome. I'm glad you found something that worked. That's awesome. Let's see here. Lisa, we are happy you started your channel, Todd, and so happy to see Michael and Lindy on their journey too. I appreciate it so much, Lisa. That's awesome. All right. Oh, we got some agreement there. We're all in agreement on that. Appreciate it. Oh, did I miss? No, I got that one. All right. I think on that note, I think I'm going to have to call it. Oh, we got that. Yeah. Carnivore meetup, Montana. Come hang out with us. We're going to have beef. We're going to have buffalo. We're going to have elk. We're going to have Rocky Mountain oysters, which are also beef, believe it or not, of sorts. And we are going to have waters and sparkling waters and good conversation, and the whole crew under the big sky, Montana big sky, with an awesome fireworks display, a presentation with Sean Baker, with Anthony Chafee, with Dr. Robert Kiltz, with Bella's Steak and Butter Girl, Carrie Mann from Homestead How. I know that Ashley from Carnivore Brothers is coming. I know that Brett from Hoosier Carnivore is coming. I know that I'm coming. It's going to be in my backyard. Yeah, I know Bella's going to be there if I didn't already say that. And then there's many more. We're going to try to get more of the SBG gang down there and more of our carnivore friends. So this list is growing, but so far, and Dr. Phil from the SBG is going to be there. So far, this is presenters, but it's going to be an awesome time. And yeah, we're just going to celebrate Independence Day under the big sky in cattle country. And we are going to start doing these so that we can start creating a tighter bond in the carnivore community, get people linked up together so that we can start fighting this nonsense that's happening to our meat. Yep. Also, anybody that can help us get the word out on Limitless Lindy GoFundMe so that we can finish up her skin reduction surgery bill, that would be awesome. We appreciate it so much. We are 90% there, and you guys are fantastic. That surgery literally saved her life.
It's really
so, yeah. Let's see. I'll try the Rocky Mountain oysters. There you go. I'm telling you, they're delicious. And
I'm sure they are.
They will put hair on your chest and lead in your pencils. So it's gonna work just fine. So we have camping nearby on both sides of us. So the Gallatin National Forest is about camping spots in Gallatin National Forest about 10 miles away in one direction. The Bozeman Hot Springs campground is 3.5 miles away from us to the north. So that's right there. So you can go down there. There's also a new hotel being built that I'm waiting for them to open up. That's only 3.5 miles away as well. So yeah, all sorts of stuff. Let's see here. Will there be another Montana meetup in a year?
It's all going to depend if Todd doesn't blow himself up first.
Yes, if we keep all of our fingers and this one goes as planned, yeah, we're going to be doing it annually every 4th of July. This is our 22nd or 23rd year of doing this fireworks display. So yeah, we're not stopping that anytime soon, and we figure what a great time to have it come out here and celebrate Independence Day. If I buy tickets for July but I'm not able to go, is it possible to get a refund? Up until yeah, I mean yes, up until a certain point, like maybe like the last 2 weeks, like you could buy them now and then you could get a refund like up into the last 2 weeks. At the end, we need time to be able to sell them. So I'd say up until like the last 2 weeks, that then you could. But even that's going to be a little bit difficult. Let me talk to the team because people have to be able to get accommodations, and the closer that it gets to the 4th of July, the harder it's going to be able to get accommodations and stuff. So it gets hard. Yeah, so it gets hard to sell them, but I think so, but we'll have to come up with a time. If you want to email me your specific situation at thecarnivorecure@gmail.com, then we can go over that and try to work with you on that. So I think what would be better is if you just don't buy the tickets and then contact me to see if I can find room for you at the end. I think would be a safer plan if you do end up me. I'll make it. All right. All right, I think that's it. But we appreciate you guys for coming. And definitely, I do want to say definitely get your tickets as soon as possible because I was surprised that they're selling as fast as they're selling. It's crazy. So I thought we had sized it plenty big, and now I'm like, dough, but it is what it is. Yeah.
Especially if you're into the VIP one. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to get one-on-one conversation with those guys because you have any questions for those big doctors and stuff, and we appreciate it. And the whole point of the VIP part is that's to help pay for the flights and accommodations and getting the doctor's team there as well. So that way we don't have to put that into every ticket price across the board. We try to front end it to the VIP tickets so that we take some of the pressure off the other tickets, trying to make the other tickets more affordable for everybody. So I don't know, it's just something we're playing with, but yeah, if you are wanting the VIP package or tickets, that's awesome.
Tickets. Yep.
Sarah's on top of it. I appreciate it. Looking so forward to meeting you guys. Yeah, so if that is something you're looking forward to, those are going to sell out very quickly. I think we'll be out of those by the end of this week. So, but all right. Well, I appreciate it. But everybody, we will see you next time. And I think we got some interviews coming up that I'm trying to get check out here as well. So, but we're definitely going to be getting Tyler in here to talk to him about the mRNA stuff and kind of, I want to start, we got to start blowing the whistle on that, which is almost and surely going to get us banned eventually from YouTube. So please follow me on Rumble so that we can keep having these conversations. My Rumble's in the description of this video, I believe.
During the stream too.
Oh, thank you. So, but yeah, come check us out on Rumble, and we will see you guys next time.
Take care, guys. Have a good week.